everyone, and welcome to our lesson on taking a survey. A survey is a way of collecting information, also known as data. So you're going to hear me use the word data a lot, and that just means information, because we're jumping into our whole unit about data and graphs, how to make graphs, and how to understand them. So now let's go ahead and jump on into our lesson. So if you want to follow along at home, you can get a piece of paper out, because what we're exploring isn't on your packet quite yet. As you see, I was practicing an example, but I will erase here so we can go ahead and start in fresh. While I'm erasing, I'm kind of going to explain this question where it says, how can you organize data using tally marks? As you see, as I'm frantically erasing, tally marks are used to count with. So if you're collecting data, you don't have a total number yet, and it's a lot easier than writing, let's say, 6 and then erasing it and writing 7 and then, oh, I gotta erase that and making an 8. You can just keep adding on tally marks. It makes it a lot easier to keep track of a count. So in class, we've used a survey when we're voting for an Ask Doug video. So when we do mystery science, and we want to say, what science question do we want to vote on for the upcoming week? I'll have everybody close their eyes, and I'll have you raise your hands, and I will take a tally. So let's say 3 people vote for option A. So I would put a line for each person. 5 people want option B. And maybe C is pretty popular. We're going to have 5, 6, 7, 8 people vote for it. Now that I have my tally marks, I'm going to go back and I'm going to count them. So I have 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to write the number after. That's my total. I have 5 tally marks. When you cross it off, like 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door and you put a line through it, it helps you see that, oh, that's a group of 5, and you can count by 5s. Makes it a little easier. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8. I can see option C would be our winner here, our winner chicken dinner, as I always say. So let's actually jump on forward and practice another problem here. It says if we're going to conduct a student and ask 15 students to choose their favorite wildcat and use tally marks to record the data. Remember, data is the same as information. Because I don't have 15 students here, I'm going to use my 15 imaginary students and keep track of what we vote for. So let's say we have 2, tigers are popular. 5 students really like a tiger. Someone says lion, and then someone says leopard. Oh, but someone goes back and says lion, but someone wants a cougar now. See, when you're taking the data, it can go all over the place. It's not always everyone you talk to is going to say tiger, then lion, then cougar, then leopard. Your votes are going to be, you have to keep track of it as you ask people. You don't even look at the total until after. We're going to ask a few more people until we get a total of 15. I say cougars are pretty popular. So now that we've done our survey, we can count our totals. When you see the door is shut and our tally is like 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door, you know you have 5, and you can just go ahead and put 5, 1, 2, 3. My pen doesn't like to write 3s. Another bunch, so we have 5. I'll have to fix that. And 2. All right, good job, class. Let's keep on moving. This is a different type of survey that you'll be seeing, where you'll get the option to answer a lot of questions. This is what we call analyzing a graph or understanding the data. So I'm going to go in with my pen and we're going to read this paragraph, and I'm going to underline important information because you go, whoa, that's a lot of words. Students were surveyed to determine their favorite flavor of ice cream. Determine just means to choose, so don't let that throw you off. 5 students chose mint. 8 students chose vanilla. 8 students chose chocolate. 3 students chose strawberry. So now that we've read, let's complete the tally chart. Use the information to answer the given questions. I want to make sure I finish reading the full question. So now we have our information. We'll go through and do our tallies first. 5 students choose mint. So We're going to go up and check the next one. 8 students choose vanilla. Looks like they're trying to trick us on our chart because the flavor names are not in the same order as the paragraph. So you really have to be reading and checking to find it. Because if I put mint first, it wouldn't match because they have chocolate first here. So vanilla is 8. I might switch to a smaller pen so it fits. Chocolate is also 8. We might have a tie here. And 3 students chose strawberry. As you see, the tallies get kind of messy really fast, so that's why it's important to try to stay as neat and in the lines as possible, and also why it's important to keep the total number on the side because you can see the number instead of having to count the tallies every time. So we're going to write the numbers in as well. I am doing it alternating so it doesn't get confusing. Our first question is how many students were surveyed? Well, to find that, we need to figure out all of our totals added up. We have 4 different numbers, and you can do any strategy that works best for you. But I see that I have 8 and 8, which is a double. And I know 8 plus 8 is 16 because I have my double facts. So I'm just going to write 18. I cross those off because I know I used them. I know, and I'll write it over here, 5 plus 3 is 8. So add those off, and I can add 8 here. It looks like we've got some regrouping because I know 6 plus 8 is 14. Move the ones down in our ones place, and we move our 10 over to the tens place. So now we have 2 tens, which is the same as 20, and we get 24 students. So we can write 24 in our answer. Now we're ready to move to our second question. Which flavors received the same number of votes? This one just requires us to look at the graph. We don't really have to do any addition or subtraction. I remember mentioning it earlier by the tally marks, and we can just look in our totals that there's an 8, there's an 8. I'm going to go all the way over, see what flavor it is. All right, chocolate and vanilla. So in our answer, we are just going to come on down and write chocolate and vanilla. Doesn't want me to dot my I, so we'll just keep going. How many more students voted for vanilla than strawberry? Now here's important. It says how many more students. When it says that, it wants you to find the difference. You want to compare how many people wanted vanilla more than they wanted strawberry. So when we hear that, we know that a difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So we're going to go ahead to the side here and set up a subtraction problem. We had 8 vanilla, 3 strawberry. Well, 8 is the larger number, so it goes on top, because we know in a subtraction the larger number always goes on top. Then we're going to take away 3 so we can find the difference. I also am looking over at my work up here, and I see we have a little bit of a fact family going. 8 take away 3 is 5, which means 5 more students wanted vanilla than they did strawberry. So we're going to write 5. Good job, class. We're going to jump on in to do one more here together. In your packets, you're going to see this question here. I want you to actually ask family members, peers, so if you have other like classmates near you and you can call them or find data for what their favorite fruit is. When you're asking, you can't just say, what's your favorite fruit? Because they might say something that's not on your chart. So you have to come up with a question that they know specifically what their choices are. So you would say, do you like, there are 3 options, apples, oranges, or grapes? Once you ask this question to 10 people, You can fill it in there. And if you don't have 10 people around, you could even go to your stuffed animals and, they can give you an answer. And as long as you get your answers and put your totals, I'd say you're good to go. Get a little warm-up practice asking a survey. Once you do that, we're going to go to the See and Show page of your math packets, where it tells you when you take a survey, you ask a question. When you take a survey, you ask a question. So that's what we're saying. The survey is the question you're asking. You use tally marks to record your answer or data. Your answer is also known as data, and data is the information. I would love to hear you mathematicians using the term data whenever you're talking. So even when you're talking with your parents about it, when you're discussing what's inside of these graphs, make sure you're using data. So when you're taking a survey about books, it says number 1, write a question. Our question about books here would probably have to do with the 3 type of books we want to know about. So I would say, do you like, make sure my L is tall, it's a little sloppy there, scary, funny, go back with a comma because it's a list, or sport books. I would make sure to ask all my people the same question so I can get consistent data. So I ask the question and I get these results, and we would record them with tally marks as I asked, and then you go through and you count those tally marks to get your totals. You can trace over the ones on your page. You have 2 scary books, 8 funny books, and 5 sport books. We're going to do number 1 together before I let you guys go today. So number 1 in your packet gives you a chart, and it asks you to ask 10 students their favorite season. However, we're not at school and we don't have 10 students, so I will be your 10 imaginary students. So you go around and ask, and we're going to start filling in the data, and you can follow along with me. I'm asking my imaginary class what their favorite seasons are, and they're giving me their answers. We're getting some really good ones. And it looks like we're at 10. I don't want it to be a tie necessarily on all 3 of them. So I'm going to make our students change their answers just a little bit here. And right now we have 10. Winter, we have 3. Spring, 2. Summer, 1. And fall, 4. So now we can look and analyze the data. Our first question is, what season do students like best? Well, I'm going to look for the largest number, which is 4, and that takes us right over to the information. So it looks like fall is the top season. So we're going to write fall. Number 2, how many students like winter and fall? Now when we see and, that's the question trying to ask us for a sum. A sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I'm just going to write a little addition sign, a plus right there so I remember. So we need to collect our data. We need winter and fall. Well, we know fall already had 4 and winter has 3. So if we want to know and, which is the sum or the total, we'll add them together and get 7. Well, now that we've done this, I believe in you. You're going to get a lot of questions similar to this. Remember to read carefully to know if it wants to find the difference or the sum. Make sure that you are keeping your charts nice and neat. And I can't wait to see all the great work you do. All right, second grade, have a wonderful day. Bye.